you've mentioned already that you were very lucky that you got to an exit after 18 years. And luck seems to be this mysterious factor in success to some degree, or to varying degrees. How do you think about luck in life, in building companies? Like how big a part does it play? And almost then the follow-on question could be, how can you almost manufacture luck?
So I'm blessed. So I consider myself very lucky. And I feel like I've been very lucky in business and in life in general. And I hope my luck doesn't run out. But at the same time, I don't believe in manufacturing luck at all, in the sense that I just think that it's the hard work, it's the planning, it's the trying one's best, etc., which produces the luck as a byproduct. There's no doubt that even in my investments, for instance, my early investments have done really well, which I'm delighted about. But I think that's lucky. And if it goes the other way, if you have 3 or 4 unlucky experiences early on, you can tell yourself, I'm no good at this. So it can actually change the course of history. It can create sliding doors kinds of moments. But I don't seek to manufacture luck. As I said, I believe luck comes from all the entrepreneur characteristics which you would go through, which is, I'm going to chart my own course. I'm going to try my best. I'm not going to give up. I'm going to work with the best people. I'm going to dust myself off, and so on and so forth. And that's when you get lucky.
So there are some precursors of which you can manufacture the precursors almost like in the hope that you get lucky.
Exactly. Yes, that's my belief.
Got you. Okay. What felt specifically lucky with Shazam?
I'll give you an example. So my partner Chris and I were really good friends. We used to hang out in San Francisco. We used to laugh at each other's jokes. We used to, go out when we were in our early 20s. And he was at Berkeley Business School, and he had a good friend called Philippe, and they had worked together. And he knew that Philippe was had these superpowers. And Chris and I decided that we wanted to be entrepreneurs. That was the plan. And Chris and Philippe had decided they were going to be entrepreneurs. That was the plan. But Philippe and I had never met. So I remember we met at a place called Café Bohème in Soho. And we were already business partners. We had already decided we were going to work together. And I remember walking into that cafe, and the first time I laid eyes on Philippe, it was like love at first sight. I was like struck. I was like, I love this guy. I've literally just laid eyes on him, and I think he's great. And 25 years later, we are still great friends. We had a great working relationship. We still visit each other, and we'll probably be friends for life. I think that's lucky, because you can have differences in personality or clash. I'd never met him before. And I think that's the kind of thing which, of course, we had a mutual friend in common, but there's more to it than that. So I consider that a great stroke of luck, because that will bring a company down if founders are undermining each other or backstabbing or fallout. So that was the first example of true proper luck.
It does feel like there's a lot of luck in co-founder marriages.
Yes.
Because you hear so many stories of people jumping into these relationships with little context, which it sounds like you had the least amount of context. So that is very lucky. I'd love to know about luck in terms of the journey when building. So you were on the brink of bankruptcy for 6 years or so. And you had, with fundraising, you had sort of, 53 VCs in the Valley, of which 50 said no. And so you had 3 of them.
That's right.
How much does luck play into each of these?
That's a great question. So, for instance, we got really lucky with our chairman, RJ, who was our lead investor and helped us raise a round in 2001, which was the darkest hour for VC in Europe, directly after the internet bubble burst and September 11th happened. Now, the story is that RJ loves music, And when he saw this idea to be able to identify music using your mobile, he just fell head over heels in terms of wanting this business to exist so he could use it himself. He had been a VC for all of 3 weeks. So you couldn't say that he had racked up years of experience of things going horribly wrong. And the story, as we know, has a happy ending because we're still like really close all these years later. His partners said to him, don't do it. His associate said to him, don't do it. And he did it anyway. And he's got the stories to tell. Now, how did we get to RJ? We emailed every single VC alive until we found one where we got lucky. So it wasn't the first, he wasn't the 10th, it wasn't the 20th. He must have been like among hundreds. So that's a good example of depends on how you tell the story. Was that brute force or was it luck? It was both.